Yo, what's going on guys, it is 0792 here, and today I am back with part 3 of reacting to scary animations. So if you don't know how this series works, I don't even know, fuck. But anyway, pretty much I react to 3 different videos, and they're like true scary animations. Like, these are true events apparently, and they're just animated. So before we get into this, make sure that you follow my social medias on the screen. They will be there. Go and follow them, so you can stay up to date with my daily life on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. I guess I don't use Snapchat that often, but still, go and add me anyway on it. So let's just get into the first animation. Okay, so the first one is called Mysterious Shadows in Our Haunted House. Let's watch this shit.
I live in the same house since my birth till I'm 18. It used to be my grandfather's house, and he gave it to his sons. We all live together, my father and his 2 brothers with their wives and children. Our grandpa passed away when I was about to born. When me and my cousins were young, our parents scared us by telling that before Grandpa bought this house, there were husband and wife been murdered and their bodies were found in our water tanks, and they became ghosts now. They told us this story to keep us away from the roof and water tanks as they all go to work. At my young age, I didn't notice these paranormal stuff happening, but after I reached 11, my life changed. We all had separate room, but me and my 2 sisters shared one room. I was just watching some videos on YouTube until late at night. It was around 2:00 a.m. and my sisters were asleep on their bed. My bed was the middle and the room was pretty dark. I could see only my mobile phone, then someone just tapped my knee 3 times. I was jumped with fear. I quickly used my phone light to see who it was, but no one was there. I thought it was only my imagination, and then I covered myself with a blanket and tried to sleep. And suddenly, I saw a white shadow of both man and woman with long hairs, and a young girl. I screamed as loud as I could. Everybody woke up, but they never believed me. That night, I shared my bed with my cousin, and I started noticing that kind of stuff later on day. After that day, 2 police officers came in our house and met my father. Me, my sister, and my cousins were watching from the stairs, and the police officers told him that they were looking for the murderers of Mr. and Mrs. They said they could not found for years, so they are going to close this case. We also found out that the Mrs. was pregnant at the same time she was murdered. We were all scared. Another big incident happened last month. My mother was working in the kitchen, and I was also sitting there gossiping with her. I mentioned the case of Mr. and Mrs., and suddenly the glass table beside me was broken. I was lucky that I stood up at the right moment, but there was no explanation of how it broke. In my house, there are 18 people living, and everybody has a haunting experience every time we mention their case. We are still living in that house as nothing serious harm has happened to anybody, but I'm still afraid.
Okay, so, first of all, the English was absolute shit in that. They were like, the police came to meet, I don't know, the police meet her father. Like, bro, use fucking English. But anyway, let's forget about that. That is pretty scary. Seeing like a fucking free ghost or whatever, feeling shit touch you, I still think that on the show people can just make a lot of stuff up, but I don't know. I have no clue. I'm looking behind me because I'm afraid there's going to be a ghost, but yeah. So, let's just move on to the second one. Okay, let's go. Old soul existed in my little sister.
It started as a normal. Me, Haley, my mom, and 6 years old, my little sister named Halia, were shopping at the grocery store. We left the grocery store, and when we got in the car, my sister wanted my mom's phone, so I gave it to her. I looked back, and she was playing Minecraft. It was quiet in the car, and my sister said something that would make me look at her different. She said, "I've been here before." I looked back at her and said, "What do you mean you've been here before, Halia?" She looked at me and said, "Like this Minecraft game. I used to live in the room with a lot of people, at least 80 to 90 people, and dead bodies everywhere." Then Halia looked back at the game playing it. As I look back straight, looking at the road, I was so scared, and I look in my mom's face. She was terrified to look at my sister, so we didn't say anything at all halfway home. We were 3 minutes from home, and my sister did the most weird and scariest thing. She started laughing. As I was afraid to ask why she was laughing, Halia said, "Because they thought I wouldn't survive." Then she goes back to playing the game. When we reach at home, I put the groceries up, and I asked my mom if I could talk to her privately. My sister's sitting in my bed, still playing Minecraft. I pull my mom to the bathroom and lock the door behind me. I whispered to my mom like, "Who was that and what the heck is talking about?" My mom replied with, "I don't know." Then Halia said, "I know you're curious, Haley, but just let me tell you about my life and how I survived. So stop whispering to mom about me." And next, "Dana, I know it's been so long. I love you." Me and mom was so shocked because my sister has a speech impediment and she never says my name correctly. Plus, mom turned toward me with a shocked face whispering, "That's your great-grandmother. She used to call me Dana." I slowly unlocked the door and opened it. Me and my mom looked at my sister. Then I say, "How did you survive?" She put the set down, saying, "Well, we were on this boat and I jumped in the water." Then after that, my sister went back to normal. After that, she was so confused. She said, "How did we get home so quickly? And why are you guys staring at me?" My mom said,
Whoa.
"You don't remember what you said?" Then she went to her playroom. Till this day, I wonder, why does things happen to us?
Okay. Alright. That's just weird. I reckon the phone may have possessed her. Minecraft possessed her. But that is kind of creepy in a way. That's just messed up. Like, I'm confused with that. There's not really much to say. But, yeah. That is just kind of fucked up, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, we have got the last one. Let's watch this shit. A true paranormal experience.
My name is Lanai, and I'm an 18-year-old from New Jersey that is currently living in Ohio. And this experience happened to me a few months ago at my brother's house. My brother Ivan had just moved into this house with his wife and his 10-year-old child. It was my first ever time visiting, since I was working all the time and we was barely home. Anyway, I arrived at my brother's house and got out of my car. As soon as I pulled into the driveway of the place, I started getting an uneasy feeling. The house was a blue 3-story house that was surrounded by 2 other houses, and while I grabbed my purse, I glanced up at the window. I froze. Because staring back at me from the 2nd floor window was this older man wearing a flannel. His hair was long and was messy, but he was gone within seconds. I brushed this off, figuring maybe Ivan and our other brother Ian was screwing with me. But both Ivan and Ian came out to 1st floor and gave me a hug. I was a bit freaked out over this, but I sucked it up and walked inside with them. Upstairs on the second floor was where my niece Iris and my nephew sleep, and my brother and his wife slept on the third floor. Of course, Iris was excited to see me and wanted me to see her room, so she took me by my hand and ran me upstairs to her room. All I can say, this place was creepy, and it smelled like a rotting corpse of something. The room was cold, and it felt as if time stopped altogether. I suddenly snapped out of this trance I was in, and Iris was showing me her collection of items she got from our grandmother in Korea when we all went together. Iris was paying no attention to me at all, but she kept talking and then said, "Hey auntie, I'll be right back. Stay here, okay?" I agreed, and she left the room. I went over to one of the walls nearest to the window to where I saw the man earlier. On the wall, I noticed something was there. I took a few steps closer, and I saw the name Max carved into the wall. It, strangely enough, was also in what looked like blood or something. I got chills down my spine, and just as this was happening, I heard what sounded like a man say, "You'll never leave, Lanai." And then I was spun around by nothing. There was nobody there. I was alone, and something had what felt like a hand around my neck, choking me. The smell got even worse. It got colder, and suddenly I could no longer breathe. After about another 5 seconds of being choked, I was thrown up against the wall and slammed to the floor. I was crying, and I jumped up, really not giving a shit about what attacked me, but I practically mowed Iris over as I sprinted down the stairs, ran past my very confused brothers. I was shouting as I dashed for my keys and pretty much dived myself into my car. I started it up and looked one more time at the window, and a pair of yellow eyes with the most fucked up Joker-looking smile stared at me. I threw my '67 Chevy into reverse and never looked back. Now, after a few months, I live by myself in a house in Dayton. I think he followed me, because now I see, hear, and sense things. Stuff in my house gets thrown at me and breaks. I can still smell that rotting corpse smell to this every day.
Okay, so she went to her brother's house, smelled like, bro, that guy had to be Max, like, okay, so that guy is probably the guy Max who wrote his name on the wall, so that's really, like, odd, smelling like this rotten thing, really cold. It's kind of freaky though, like, if this is true, how come the people who live there don't feel that there's anything wrong with that kind of house, but she does? I just heard some bangs. But anyway guys, hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and, well, if you're new, go and follow me on my social medias. They'll be here or here, one of these sides, so you can update my daily life and everything. And yeah, it's been Lewis 792. Until next time, peace out.